Hello and welcome to another segment of the East Brunswick Advisory Health Council's Wellness Spotlight. In my practice, I always say that youth is movement. How is it that many of us seem to lose our ability to be able to move well as we get older? And yet, there are certain areas around the world where people well into their 80s and 90s are able to move with effortless ease just as well as they did when they were children. With us today is someone who knows how this can be done and how we can incorporate it into our daily life. We have as our special guest today a certified yoga instructor, Linda McBride. Linda, welcome to the Wellness Spotlight.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you for having me.
Linda, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from originally?
Well, I'm from Metuchen originally, so I'm local. I now live in North Brunswick, and I've been a yoga instructor for many years. I've been a fitness instructor for actually a lot longer. And I got into yoga because I was doing fitness all the time, and my body was getting tired and tighter through the years, and I knew I needed something. I didn't know what, but I knew I needed something. So yoga was becoming popular in the gyms. So one day I said, I'm going to check this out. I'm going to take a yoga class. And by the time the class was over, I knew two things. One is I needed this yoga, and two is that I wanted to teach it. And then I enrolled in a 200-hour teacher training program and began teaching yoga, and it's been great ever since.
Now, you're a certified yoga instructor.
Yes, I'm registered through the Yoga Alliance. So I'm an RYT, registered yoga instructor.
And where did you learn how to become an instructor?
Well, I took my training through the American Yoga Academy, and then I also took another Iyengar-style training through Simply Yoga in Kingston.
Now, do you need special background, experience, or qualifications to be able to go and become a certified yoga instructor?
Not to start, no. But to become a registered yoga instructor, you do need the 200 hours teacher training.
I see. And how many years have you been teaching now?
I've been teaching since '96, so a long time.
And where are some of your classes given?
Well, I teach here in East Brunswick. I teach at the Senior Center, located right behind the library. And the classes are at night, so it's all ages. It's not limited to seniors, okay. 18 and older.
18 and older.
18 and older. And it's 5:30 to 6:30 Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday nights. And Tuesday and Thursday is multi-level, a multi-level class, and Monday is advanced. And if you wanted more information on that, you could pick up this book here from the library, or you could go to the website www.eastbrunswick.org.
And the title of this book is called?
This is the book from the Recreation, Parks, and Community Services.
Now, if a parent wanted to bring a child under the age of 18 and they were able to give parental consent to take a yoga class, would that be permitted?
I believe they can, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Linda, what is yoga?
What is yoga? Well, some people think of yoga as exercise and just exercise, and it is a form of exercise, a form of strengthening your body, but it's also, yoga is like moving meditation. So you're strengthening your body, you're stretching your body, but yet you're clearing your mind and you're breathing deep. So I would call it yoga moving meditation. And
how did it start? Where did it originate?
Yoga originated in India about 5,000 years or more. And so it's very old.
Linda, how old do you need to be able to start practicing yoga?
Well, the great thing about yoga is for everyone. So you're never too old, you're never too young to begin a yoga practice. The important thing is you want to listen to your body, and you want to choose a class that's appropriate for your level. So, for instance, if you've never tried yoga before, you want to go into a beginner or a multi-level class, and then take it from there.
Are the classes one-on-one in instruction, or what should the student-to-faculty ratio be?
Well, in the senior center classes, there's about 25 people to one instructor. I would recommend, though, if someone had really a lot of conditions, a lot of issues, that they try one-on-one first, just so that it's more for them.
Do you have clients where you offer one-on-one instruction for them?
Yes, I actually do have clients where I will go to their home. And if you wanted more information on that, you could contact me through brunswickyoga.com. Send me an email, and I'd be happy to, get back to you and let you know.
What are some of the things that people could expect in taking a yoga class?
Well, if you're coming to a yoga studio, you can expect they will have props such as blocks and mats and blankets and things.
Yes, I see some of the things that you've brought. Could you show
Sure.
us some of these materials?
Sure. Well, this is a yoga mat. Now, if you're coming to the senior center, you'd want to bring your own mat.
Now, is a yoga mat the same as a regular exercise
Well,
mat?
this is a sticky mat. So this would be, you'd want a yoga mat, something that says yoga. You can pick this up in Walmart, Target, any sporting goods store.
What's the difference between a yoga mat, and a regular exercise mat?
This is sticky, so if you were doing balancing or something, you wouldn't fall.
So your hands and feet
yes.
won't slip on it.
Right. An exercise mat might be a big cushion, and if you're trying to balance, that might throw you off and you may actually fall. So you'd be best on getting something that says yoga mat. And you can get these at Target, Walmart. They're about $10. They're very inexpensive. A yoga studio will have mats. A lot of people do like to bring their own mat just for hygiene. Just so you know, this mat, you are the only person that's been on this mat. So at the senior center, we do have blocks and we do have straps. A strap would be very useful for shoulders. For instance, we sometimes do this shoulder opener where we would touch our fingers together, but for some that's a little too much, so they'd want to use a strap to go ahead and do that.
And they could pull the lower arm up with the upper arm,
yes.
or vice versa.
Right, exactly. Also, seated postures, you might want to put the strap underneath your feet and draw yourself forward if you can't touch your toes. The block is very handy if we're doing a folding fold, and if you can't touch your toes, you'd want to use the block so you have some support. Very good, for your back, rather than hanging your arms in the air. It'd be much better.
Now, if they could get the mat at most places, where do you get the straps and blocks?
Yeah, you can get those too at Walmart,
They
Target,
sell them?
sporting goods. Yeah, they do. They're relatively inexpensive as well.
Now, just demonstrating some of the things that you've done, some of our viewers may be wondering whether or not they'd be able to do something like this. What kind of shape do you have to be in to start to practice yoga?
Well, a common misconception that I get, and I have to laugh because I get this all the time. Somebody will say to me, I'd love to do yoga, but I can't. I'm not strong enough, I'm not flexible enough. And really that doesn't make sense. You do yoga to become stronger, to become more flexible. So as long as you're picking a class that's appropriate for your level, you don't have to have any type of prerequisite shape or fitness level.
That's like saying I'm not healthy enough to start eating better.
Exactly. It's exactly it. Exactly.
And how long does a class last?
Generally an hour. There are some a little longer, but generally an hour. The one at the senior center is an hour.
And over the course of that hour, what takes place during the actual course of the class?
Well, we would start warming up. You always want to get the warm up. Actually, you would start with centering. We'd close our eyes, take some deep breaths.
What is centering?
Centering is it's like warming up the mind rather than the body. So first we're closing our eyes, we're breathing deep and sort of warming up the mind, clearing the mind, letting everything go so we can begin the practice. And then we would start to warm up the body through some very easy stretches. And then we'd come into the standing postures. Standing postures are great to get the blood flowing through all those big muscles, great to strengthen the body. And then usually after that, we'd take a few gentle back bends, easy back bends, depending on the level of the class, of course, would determine, how gentle they are or if they're going to be a little more intense. And then I would do some twisting, some forward folding, always ending with a very relaxing twist, and then about 7 to 10 minutes of relaxation where we just lay down, maybe put a blanket over us, and just listen to the music and just let the mind clear.
And what are some of the things that a beginner would need to tell you about themselves that would help you tailor a yoga program to their needs?
Well, first of all, if you're a beginner or if you're new to the class, you would want to come in a little early, and you'd want to let the instructor know that you're new, and you'd also want to let the instructor know of any conditions, like, for example, a herniated disc, knee issues. This way, this instructor can help you modify so that you're not hurting yourself. Also, sometimes the instructor can find things for you to do that will help your condition, so to make it more beneficial for you.
I see.
So it's always a good idea. You definitely want to let your instructor know what's going on with you before you begin a yoga practice, for sure.
If a person's had a history of stroke, And they have to worry about what position their head or neck might be in.
Yes, you would definitely want to let.
So you'd have to know that too.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely.
Should a person eat before they come to yoga class, or wait until after?
That's a good question. If you're on a full stomach, it would not be advisable. But a light meal, maybe an hour before coming, would probably be the best thing. You wouldn't want to be hungry. You wouldn't want to come famished. You'd want to eat something, but definitely not full. Yoga on a full stomach is not a good experience.
So what would you recommend somebody eat if they're going to be eating before a class? Are there certain foods that you would suggest?
I would recommend just a healthy meal about an hour before, a light healthy meal about an hour before.
I see. And when a person takes a class, can you talk a little bit about how they feel immediately after the class and some of the things that they might experience or feel after they've been doing yoga for a while?
Well, immediately, first time, I love first time people. I absolutely love it because they get up from it and they just feel like a new person. Nothing like the first yoga class, really. And then over time, usually very shortly over time, people start to report that they feel more flexible, maybe little twinges they had in their back, their shoulder, their neck start to just fade away. They start to feel a little more body awareness, where they know what's going on with their body. They know where they're weak. They know where they're tight. Yoga helps to teach you about your own body. Believe it or not, a lot of us, we don't know much about our own bodies.
You know, if a person joins a gym, and even if they work out with the best trainer on the best equipment, typically, that night they feel great.
Right.
And then the next day they feel like they got ran over by a train. What about with yoga? Can people experience the same kinds of things?
If you were taking an advanced class and say we were doing a lot of, what comes to mind is planks, which is like the top of a push-up, you might experience some muscle soreness. But generally people feel good because after we do a hard posture, we're going to stretch. So a lot of that soreness comes from working hard but never stretching. So definitely yoga will help you feel stronger but really feel good about yourself. It's a nice well-rounded form of physical activity.
Now, a number of times you've alluded to the connection between the mind and the body.
Yes.
Even the very beginning, you talk about centering and getting yourself in the right state of mind. With most exercise programs, most people don't really stop to think of that component. Why does yoga incorporate the mind so much into the workout?
Well, yoga is considered like moving meditation, so they're very much focused on the mind. In fact, I believe that yoga came around because people were meditating and their bodies were stiffening up as they were trying to meditate for an hour, sitting in one place. So then they started to realize that if they moved, their bodies wouldn't stiffen up, and then it had just evolved into what we call yoga.
So that's interesting, Linda. Now, if people who have some aches and pains and stiffness can benefit from doing yoga, what about people who have certain emotional issues going on in their body?
Oh, absolutely.
So can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, yoga will help you to release emotions. Like, for instance, women in general, they tend to hold a lot of emotional tension within their hips. So just very gentle hip openers can release some of those pent-up emotions and just make you feel better.
Now,
absolutely.
After a person does something like that, emotionally, how do they feel?
Well, I mean, releasing some emotions feels good. I'm not saying that they're going to be leaving the class weeping or anything like that.
Yeah.
Just feels better, letting go of maybe some of those emotions that have just been, pushed down into the body for a long period of time. And a lot of times when you're emotionally not feeling good physically, comes out physically. You'll catch colds more often. You'll get aches and pains, backaches, things like that. Where if you start to let go of some of that, you're going to find that you're not going to get sick as much. Your back is not going to hurt as much. You're just going to feel good. So yoga will help you make you feel good.
Now, I've taken a couple of yoga classes, and I know that there are many different kinds of yoga.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Can you please speak a little bit about that? Discuss some of the most popular kinds, some of the newest kinds that are coming out that people might hear about, and what the differences are between them.
Sure. Well, the most common term that you hear is hatha. Hatha yoga. And hatha, the term just means movement and breath.
Hatha.
Hatha, yes.
Hatha.
Yes, movement and breath, which is generally what yoga is, movement and breath. There are lots of forms of yoga. I couldn't possibly hit them all, but Ashtanga, power yoga, very, very quick movements, very intense. Bikram or hot yoga, that's yoga practiced in a room of about 100 degrees, obviously very challenging. Iyengar, which is a style that I've been trained in, is a little less movement. You hold the postures a lot longer, and we sort of focus on form and precision. And that's challenging as well. When you're holding a yoga posture for a long time, that can be challenging. The restorative yoga, if you've ever heard that term, that's a very easy form of yoga where they use a lot of props, a lot of blankets, a lot of bolsters, pillows, and you really just lay in that posture and breathe maybe for a minute or two.
Similar to the way a person would lie on their back over an exercise ball.
Yes, exactly. And excellent for stress, excellent for those who are very stressed out. And it's almost like sleepy time yoga, but it's excellent, especially if you're doing that and you're focusing on your breath. That's another thing about yoga. A lot of people look at it as just exercise. So they say, oh, I want to get fit, I'm going to do, yoga. And they come into a class and they're doing it and they're strengthening and they're stretching, but you really, if you're bringing your breath into it as well, if you're tying in the breath, you get so much more out of your yoga practice than if you're just doing an exercise. You'll get your mind to clear, you'll get your muscles to really stretch, you'll release some lactic acid that, tightens us up, gets us all stiff and tight, and definitely you want to bring the breath in. So if you're in a restorative class and you feel like, okay, what am I doing? I'm just laying here on a bolster, I'm just laying here on a ball or something. If you're breathing, you're doing excellent things for your body, for sure.
Does your certification enable you to be able to instruct all of those different forms of yoga?
Yes, it does, yes. Yes.
So if a person is interested in picking a kind of yoga that they think would suit them best, how do they go about doing that, especially with so many choices?
Well, with so many choices, it does make it hard. I would go online, make phone calls, find out if you have a specific type in mind. Like, for instance, if you wanted to do hot yoga, that would be easy to find because you have to find a place that's willing to turn the thermostat up to 100 degrees. So you'd look online and, find the closest place. If you're looking for restorative, I would just maybe Google restorative yoga, East Brunswick, New Jersey, see what pops up. Here at the Senior Center, we have advanced and multi-level. And the multi-level, we do touch on the restorative for sure, definitely. So we do a lot of things that are restorative, make it nice and gentle, nothing too hard. And if you're looking for hard, you'd come to, sign up for Monday.
And it's mainly hatha?
Yes, movement and breath, with a little Iyengar type style to it.
Now, how does a person know which one to pick? Is it they try it and it's empirical? Or,
yeah, I would say you would like anything, you would give a couple different places a try, see what you like. Definitely.
What's your favorite?
My favorite is Iyengar style.
Why?
It's you focus on alignment and precision, and I like the detail. I do like the detail.
Linda, what's the hardest part of yoga?
Well, I believe the hardest part of yoga is clearing the mind. There's many challenging postures we could do, but usually for most people, letting go. We're in a world of multitasking. We're all doing many things at the same time, and really letting go of all of that and clearing the mind is the hardest part. So I always tell my class to take a mini vacation from their day-to-day life and use the yoga time for just them and nothing else.
Well, this sounds so great, Linda. Would you be willing, if we cleared this stage, would you be willing to take some of our viewers through some of the things that you do in a yoga class?
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
I'd love to.
Okay, so we're just going to take a quick break and then we'll be back.
Sure, great. So if you have any doubt if any of this is right for you, please consult your physician before beginning. So close your eyes, take in a few deep breaths, really feel the air coming into the lungs, really feel your lungs filling with the air. And when you exhale, let the air out slowly, evenly, completely. Try to really clear the mind. And if your mind begins to wander, come back right here. And then very slowly, allow the eyes to open and coming to the center. And start out by reaching the arms out to the sides. Lengthen your arms. Really put some length into those arms. Turn the palms out and up. Inhale, reach out and up. Let the arms sweep up. And if you'd like to look up, go ahead and look up. If not, that's fine too. And just feel your whole body lifting up out of the waist. Feel your body expanding. And then as you exhale, let the arms sweep down. And bring those arms in front. And let's come to tabletop position now. And start to warm the body with some cat and cows. So as you exhale, round your back up as if you were a cat. Let your head hang down, tailbone tuck under. And as you inhale, try to sink your belly down. Let your chin and your tailbone rise up. Let your shoulders open. And take this a few times back and forth at your pace. And just relax and breathe, deep breaths. And then take one more time each direction. And whenever you're done, we're going to sit back into child's pose position. So child's pose, you're sitting back, let the knees get a little bit wider. Child's pose is the official resting pose of yoga. So if you ever need a little break, you certainly can always come to child's pose. And we're going to come into just a few standing postures. So begin to come up, bring one foot up at a time. We're going to take a forward fold. So if you cannot touch your mat, you want to use your block. And you want to tip your body weight into your toes so you can feel the backs of the legs stretching. See if you can lift your kneecaps if that's possible. And just let your body hang down. Now if you're feeling anything in the back, just bend your knees. That's all. Relax. And then inhale so you don't get dizzy and start to come out and up. So reach out, reach up. Bring your palms together and let your hands come right to your heart center and hold it here. All right, so standing posture is working the big muscles of the body. So taking the legs nice and wide, opening the arms out, and really extending the arms, lengthening through each finger. And as you exhale, coming over to your right, looking up if you'd like. Get a nice side stretch there. And then inhale, coming to center. Exhale, coming to the other side, looking up if you'd like to. And then inhale, center, and let's take a nice wide forward fold. So once again, if you cannot touch your mat, you just use your block. And body weight tips into the toes, backs of the legs are stretching. And really nice to get your head down below the heart. It's always very healthy for the body. And then inhale once again so you don't get dizzy, reaching out and reaching up and bringing the palms together, bringing the hands right to the heart center. All right, so after the standing poses, I like to do a few back bending and actually some shoulder openers. So taking our strap, and you want to just take your strap. If you don't have a strap, you can use a tie, anything you have around the house, a towel. And just place it right over your right shoulder. And get ready and inhale and reach the right arm up and then bend from the elbow. The strap is here if you need it. Sweep the left arm underneath. Now maybe you can do this. Maybe you can hold on to the fingers. If not, you're using your strap. It doesn't matter how far you can go. Just use your strap and just hold that for a moment. And just try to relax and breathe into this. So great for your shoulders, so great for your rotator cuff muscles. And then just release. Now, normally in a class, we may hold this a little bit longer. And then you try the other side. So everything we do on one side, you certainly want to do on the other. And sweep underneath. Notice if it's a difference from side to side. Use your strap if you need it. It's right there if you need it. And just relax and take deep breaths. And just notice how that feels. Upper back, shoulders should feel good. And then release down, release the strap. And now let's take a back bend. So we're going to take bridge pose. So bridge pose, great to open up the chest. Great to stimulate your thyroid. So laying down. And you want to bring your feet as close to you as what's available, about hip width apart.
Let your head relax down. Let your arms come alongside. Pressing into the feet, you want to lift your hips up. Now, some of us, maybe we go this high. Some of us, maybe we come all the way up here. And if it's possible to roll the shoulders underneath you and clasp your hands underneath, go ahead. So great, we're opening up the chest, we're opening up the stomach here. Our legs are working, our back muscles are strengthening through this posture. And then you just want to breathe. Open up the chest. Back bends are great to bring energy to the body. And great to stimulate your thyroid. This one where the chin is into the throat is great for the thyroid. And then we'll slowly start to unroll the shoulders. Begin to come down gently. Bring the feet a little wider, windshield wiper. Those knees back and forth. And then when you're ready, coming up to seated position. And let's do a little bit for the backs of the legs. So if you cannot reach your toes, that's fine. You can always use the strap. Now when we're folding forward, you want to fold from the hip crease, not from up here. So sitting tall, toes point up. I just want to draw yourself forward from the hip crease. If you go this far, that's fine. If you go this far, that's fine. If you go this far, that's fine, as long as you're keeping your back safe. Try not to round. Definitely do not round. And so I'm breathing, I'm feeling the backs of my legs stretch. It's nice and soothing on the backs of my legs. So I'm taking deep, deep breaths. And then, after that, we want to take a very gentle twist. So laying down on the mat and taking the arms, opening them out, palms face the sky, letting the knees come in and over to one side. You could cross the top one over if you want. You can put your hand on the leg. You can turn your head to look the other way if you'd like. Or just relax and breathe. Now, of course, if you don't want your leg crossed over, that's fine. You don't have to. And take some nice deep breaths. And then let's take it to the other side. So same thing on the other side, crossing over if you'd like, turning the head to look the other way. Try to relax this opposite shoulder. Take nice deep breaths. And then starting to come into, we always end yoga with relaxation. So arms alongside of the body, closing the eyes. Now breath is natural. Body is heavy. Mind is clear. Let everything go and take a few moments of peace and quiet.
Linda, thank you so much for telling us all about yoga and also for that wonderful demonstration so that people who really have never seen a yoga class or know what it's all about could get a much better idea.
Thank you so much, Ken, for having me here. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
This concludes another segment of the East Brunswick Advisory Health Council's Wellness Spotlight. I'm Dr. Ken Friedman here with Linda McBride, advising you that wellness works when you work it.
Opening the arms out, really extending the arms, lengthening through each finger. And as you exhale, coming over to your right, looking up if you'd like. Get a nice side stretch there. And then inhale, coming to center. Exhale, coming to the other side, looking up if you'd like to.